everybody, and welcome to Dine with the Divine. I'm your host, Ashley, and together we'll be exploring the magical, the mystical, and everything in between. On today's episode, we're going to talk about tea and people switching eyes once again. I know we talked about people switching eyes before at this point, but you'll see. Anyway, so I hope you're having a great week, and if not, I hope it gets better soon. Okay, so today we have a great guest. We have S.M. Harlow. She is the author of A Tea Witch's Grimoire. She is a simple nature lover and witch with a husband and a son. She lives in Alabama. When she is not writing, doing readings, building up her homestead, or visiting friends and family, she's studying to become a traditional doctor of naturopathy. Her craft works very closely with nature and her ancestors. SM, how are you?
I'm doing really good. Super excited.
Yeah, hey, good. I'm so glad. I'm so happy to have you here. I really like your book because, number one, it's very, again, aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, it's very cute. I like it a lot. And I do drink a lot of tea. So I was like, oh, it's perfect for me. If it's tea, it's for me.
Cheers to that. Cheers to that.
Yay. Yeah, you already got your tea. See, I just got my water. Boring. What I usually ask everybody is, how did your story with spirituality and all this good stuff start?
Oh, gosh. That's a loaded question. Spirituality and really my whole magical path, it started like probably how most everyone has started in a way where they just felt magically inclined, especially as a child. So I think my earliest recollection of really tapping into nature and my ancestors happened when I was about 11 years old. And I would love to say that I contribute a lot of that with my grandmother, who helped take care of me at that young age. She was very much in tune with her spirituality and her beliefs and her traditions when it came down to family and bloodlines and especially with healing, the healing aspect and using natural remedies. And so that really touched me and connected me deeply with that. And I used to run around in the schoolyard trying to help any kind of kids that just would trip over and hurt themselves and so on. And I would try to heal them with my hands and then take them to the nurse's office. But I felt such great love and connection within nature itself. And it just stuck with me over my young teen years. And I really fully embraced it when I was about 17 years old and I started working at a metaphysical store. And it was basically my first step in was just like, oh my God, I am home. I could really be myself in here and really learn and grasp all the different types of history and correspondences and just really the craft in general. So learning everything, especially about herbs and the folklore behind it, it drew to me because it reminded me very much of my grandmother and what she used to do. And from there, I moved forward and I worked in a Chinese acupuncture clinic, actually, she was amazing acupuncturist, but she also had owned a tea room in the same clinic. And I was able to learn from this wonderful tea master all the benefits and all the healing spiritual aspects of tea in general, all the rituals behind it. And it connected to me very deeply. And working in this store, this clinic, I was able to also serve tea to its patients, to the clients that came in. And in a way, that's where I started to really embrace my whole magical nature with my desire to heal people, like through energy and through knowledge. And every time when I met people, and I'm just such an active listener, so I would listen to people and listen why they would come in and what they were seeking and so on. And just I combined the two and just really served it to them in a way. It's just like, here's some blessings. But yeah, so it really took off from there in my young adult years. And I just started blending so many teas, blending so many herbal remedies, combining both the health aspects and the magical correspondences together. Yeah. And that's how AT Witch's Grimoire began. It's really all of my own recipes that I had created over the years.
Wow.
And tested with friends, with family, people who just came upon my path. Yeah.
The first thing I even notice about you is I'm not going to call myself scatterbrain because I like to call it organized chaos. That's what goes
Yes.
on in my brain every day.
Mhm.
I know the things I have to do, can't figure out the order, can't figure out when I'm going to get it done, but I know I have to do it. Anyway, when I just started speaking to you, even as soon as we got on this call, I instantly felt like calm. I was like, oh, because I'm like, oh my God, sorry, I'm so late. That's it. And you're like, that's okay. And I'm like, wow, I have to bring myself way down. I have to calm me down. This woman is very relaxed. I have
Let's
to be on a
flow
level.
together.
Yes. I instantly was like, okay, I'm doing a lot and I'm okay. I'm recognizing this and I appreciate it. No, but like your presence, having you work in as you were just speaking, I'm like, you're talking about working in a tea room and talking to people and serving these teas and also talking to them. I'm like, yeah, I could see that. Like, I could totally see that. Your presence is very comforting and calming. I feel like we're sitting at someone's table in a cottage right now and we're just like over the internet. But yeah, I'm like, I feel like you're just like, hey, girl, how's it going?
Tell me all about it.
I love it. I like the
Let me read your tea leaves.
exactly. The wind's blowing outside, like it smells like that sweet like nature. Oh, I'm like I'm there. I'm there right now. If you can't tell,
wonderful.
Thank you. I have this very active imagination, but
I love it. Yes, I love it. Put me there. I'm glad to be inspiring that spark of imagination because honestly, we all need it. We all
do.
need it.
I remember I used to, one of the jobs I've had in my life that I hated. I remember every time I go, this is so embarrassing, but weird. I would go to the bathroom and I would sit on the toilet and I would close my eyes and I would just visually just go somewhere else for like 3 minutes. I'd be like, I am in this place. I am okay. Because I have to go back outside, but I will live. But I don't think it.
I did exactly that too, honestly, especially in high school. Like if I wasn't in the right state of mind, I would go to the bathroom and have to listen to Beethoven. Just kind of, it's weird. I know it's weird because it's classical music, but honestly, I used to rock out with it in my head. And he would just cleanse me.
I love it. I used to play the violin, and so I listened to a lot of classical music when I was younger, but I generally enjoy classical music. And I think of like, again, my active imagination. I just imagine watching all these people in Versailles at a dance. I mean, like, so random.
It's so true. It's not random. Honestly, you and I are on the same wavelength because that's exactly how I picture it too. I really do.
I'm just like watching them and I'm like, oh my God, everyone's so gorgeous. Like, oh gosh. Sorry, getting way off topic. I wanted to ask you about becoming a doctor of naturopathy. Now, can you just explain what that is? Because I feel like I know, but some people may not know. I only know.
Yeah, it's a traditional, doctor of traditional naturopathy. It's basically a preventative practice of using all sorts of different types of natural ways of healing your body in a way that it will help prevent any types of illness or future diseases. It's basically just to help optimize your overall wellness, help keep your body balanced. basically.
Hey, that's wonderful. I think it's so important that we all get to do something like that because there's so many ways that and I I'm a nurse. I give chemo for a living. So
Mm.
there's so many ways that are good about Western medicine, but there's also
Mhm.
so many things that you can do to help yourself that are
Yes.
natural, that are easy on your body. And I feel like,
Exactly.
yeah, we don't investigate. I don't think, because I know, especially in this space, you have a lot of people who are like, I'm never taking this antibiotic. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, girl, that's fine. But like, your throat's going to last for 4 months. Girl, it's not my business.
Mhm.
But then there's people who will say, oh, this isn't good either. But I like how you just said that. You're like, no, this is like a preventative thing. And it's
Yes.
also supplemental, right? Take your blood pressure medicine, but maybe
Mhm.
also drink some tea that is good for you and will help your heart. There's nothing wrong with just doing two things at the same time. There's
Exactly.
benefits to everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Majority being mostly what you eat too, just being
Yeah.
very mindful of what you are taking into your body, because really that's where it all starts.
Yes.
It's same goes for tea. Yes, there are
Mhm.
some tea that is very beneficial for you, but there is also some other teas that you should definitely look into, because it can also sometimes create an imbalance inside your body, depending. You have to basically find that perfect balance.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that. And thank you for acknowledging both sides because I think that's good. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like there's just too much of one or the other. We don't need to do that. We can all work together to help each other. That's the point,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to go to our dish of the week. So this week, we're going to talk about something that goes very with tea because we're talking about tea today.
Mm.
Talk about scones. I I love scone. I am a scone enthusiast. I will buy them when I see them. I think they're one of my favorite pastries. Like,
Uh-huh.
like
Kind. Oh, no. Say the
no, it's
dish.
fine. I like scones. Okay, we're gonna talk. No, it's fine. We're gonna talk about the different types you can have because there's lots of. I like the scones with like blueberries. Or I don't. I'm
Mhm.
not into. I know everybody likes cranberry orange, but I don't really like cranberry orange. Not my
Nah, I'm with
thing.
you on that.
I'll eat like a craisin. Like I like craisins if it's by itself. And I'm just like years ago, I went to Bonnaroo. It's a music festival. If anybody doesn't know what Bonnaroo is, and I went there, and you can't like. It's so hot because it's in Tennessee and it's in like July. No, it's in June. Yeah, it's
Sticky.
so hot, and you have to like camp out. It's like very festival-y. But it's very
Mhm.
well organized. It's really fun. But you can't eat heavy food like in the
Mhm.
heat then you're camping. Like, no. So I just ate craisins for 5 days. And I was like,
What?
God, it's so good.
What are they calling that now? Girl dinner?
Oh, yeah. Girl dinner. Yeah, girl dinner.
Crazy.
Oh my God. I eat days worth. I could eat days worth of craisins and dried mango and just be fine. Like, I'll
Mm.
live. My blood sugar will be 1,000, but it'll be fine. With me. Anyway. So if you're like, what's a scone? You probably know, but I'll tell you. So
Mhm.
scones are different. So there's English scones, which are like American biscuit, a
Mhm.
little bit like that. And they usually have like clotted cream or butter or jam. But
Mm.
I know, so good. I'm gonna die.
Sorry, I love clotted cream. I'm
Oh my
obsessed
God.
with clotted
It,
cream and
it's very good. My mom is British, so she's really into clotted cream. And she's like, I get clotted cream here in America. And I'm like, okay. But she's super into it. American scones are a little different than English scones, but they're a little like heavier and a little sweeter and a little more dense. But a scone is a scone and they're both delicious. So don't worry about it. Either way,
Mhm.
you're gonna enjoy yourself, whether you're here or across the pond.
So
Um,
true.
I know. Usually in America too, we put a lot of butter in it. So there's not butter on top of it. We usually eat it like that
Mm.
because there's already butter everywhere and it's delicious. And it's more, sometimes people will put vanilla icing on their scones or sugar. But okay, so this is the easy scone recipe that I'm going to put on the show notes so everybody can take a look. So it's just like flour, sugar, baking powder, salt, butter, heavy cream, 4 buttermilk, egg, and it's optional. You could put a little vanilla extract in it if you're making a sweet scone. I didn't know you could make savory scones. We'll get to it.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I was like, oh, I've only ever had sweet ones. And then a lot of people like to put cinnamon, because I can put cinnamon also in anything because I just like cinnamon. Some people hate it, which is fine.
To
Yeah.
preference.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things. I feel like cinnamon is a little bit like, I'm very into cinnamon. When I like something, I like it. Like cinnamon I can eat all day. But I feel like cinnamon's a little bit like for at least some people I know, like cilantro. They're like, I hate cilantro because it's like soap.
Yeah.
Or I love it. Yeah. Also love cilantro. I don't have that soapy gene or whatever.
I'm so glad to, because I love it.
Me too. I know. I feel bad for people who have the soap gene, who like it tastes like soap for them. Okay. Right. My mind is going everywhere. I was like, wait, is that like the one? I was like, is that like the gene that makes your asparagus? When you eat asparagus, it makes your pee funky. I'm like, I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
For everybody?
I thought it was, but then somebody's like, no, it's like specific people. I don't know. I have to look it up because that's probably not true. I need to stop just listening to random people tell me stuff that's a lie and then believing it.
Do your research, people.
Exactly. Don't listen to, like, people just tell you random stuff and then you go on a podcast and say it because then you send them. Anyway, here are some flavors that like people like in their scones. So there's all the recipes in this link. There's links to every recipe in the link for the scones. Okay. So you have blueberry scones. I like blueberry scones. Ooh, chocolate chip. I've had those.
Yes.
Those are good.
That's
then
a
we
must.
have cranberry orange. Me and yeah, we're not going to do that too much here, but that's okay. Enjoy it. Banana? No, thank you. I don't like. I like bananas. It's just as bananas. I don't like them in other things. But if you just give me a banana, I'll be like, oh, great, yum, and I'll eat it. But
not even banana bread?
Okay. Actually, that might be the only one. I do like banana bread. I do like a banana bread. And like a banana nut muffin, I'll eat. But like sometimes I'm like, we don't have to put bananas in everything just so we don't have to make cauliflower into everything. We'll have to calm down now. Cauliflower rice, cauliflower crust, enough. We have lavender. Like less. Yeah, I know. It's a weird acquired taste. Some people hate it. I get it.
Yeah. Now that's like soap.
I get it. It's weird.
It's a preference, I guess, you know.
It is. And lavender is like, I've had lavender lemonade, which was like very pretty. It's very Instagrammable, but it doesn't taste very good.
It's all beauty, no personality.
Exactly. I'm like, I'm going to take a picture of this, but I don't really want to drink the rest of it. But it's fine. Lavender people like lavender and everything.
Sure.
Yeah. Raspberry
I'll
almond.
keep it in my bath water.
Yeah, that's fine. Keep your bath water, those little pillows that you put in the shower.
Yeah.
Oh, I've had lemon blueberry. My mom makes this lemon blueberry cake thing, and it's delicious. Oh my God, it's so good.
With the glaze.
Yeah. Thanks. Girl, it's so good.
Look it around for like nothing.
I know. I'm like, I want something delicious. It's like, you probably have to cook it. And I'm like, no thanks. Apple. We got cinnamon chip. Okay. Triple chocolate scones that taste like brown. Oh, if it tastes like brownies, I'm eating it. Cherry chocolate. I'm not into cherries, but that's fine. Some people really like cherries. Cool.
It's a tart version.
Yeah. Mixed berry.
Such a tart.
And mixed berry. Mixed berry is pretty good. Ham and cheese, which is the savory scone. Sure, I'll eat that. And then
it's
fresh.
good.
Really? Have you had that?
Yeah, it's delicious.
Okay. I would have that. And fresh herb, which also sounds really good. So you would, for this one, you're going to leave out the sugar, reduce the sugar, leave out the vanilla, and you're going to add like rosemary, garlic, black pepper.
That one's probably one of my favorites, actually. Some cheese on the side.
Yes, that's what it takes to add some cheese. And you can even add the cheese to the dough, too, they said, and then like bacon on top. I would eat that. That sounds delicious.
That's another good one. Maple bacon. Ooh. Yes. That one was a nice surprise when I had it at a tea room once.
That sounds delicious. I would love that. Woo. All right, everybody, get your scones where you can get them. So they all sound good. All right, this
They're
is
easy to make too.
Say that again.
They're really easy to make too.
Yeah, they're really easy to make. Because I'm just lazy, but like I like scones. I just wouldn't make them because I'm not like a baker. I can bake when I have to, but I'm not like usually don't do it. But I read it. I was like, oh, I can bake this. This is very simple. It's like this is not as hard as I thought it was. Okay. Yay. We love scones here. This is going to be the part of the show where I plug myself. If you're enjoying this show, keep listening to it. And you can follow me and make sure you're subscribed. And so every Thursday you get the notification. I am Dine with the Divine on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and Threads. Sure. And if you really like this show, I really appreciate it if you would give us a rating or a review because that helps a lot. And if you want to give me a tip, feel free. You can also do that. And if you have any questions, suggestions, comments, feel free to email me at dinewiththedivinepod@gmail.com. Okay. So next, we're going to talk about different types of tea and how they're made. Since we have the tea witch here, it's actually pretty interesting because there's so many different types of tea. There's a lot of different types of tea, and I feel like everybody's heard of all these things, but you don't really know the difference. And if you're like me, you'll just try anything. But it's good to know what different types of tea, like the process and different things like that, because it's very interesting. The thing about tea is, apparently, what I read from my research, it's all made from this one plant, and this is true tea, right? It's called Camellia sinensis. Sinensis. Thank you. Camellia sinensis. Woo, there we go. We got through it, guys. True tea from this plant. And it originated in southern China, like a long ass time ago, guys. I don't know dates, I'm terrible with dates. And yes, for hundreds of years, it was cultivated and consumed by people there. Now, it has two main variants, Camellia sinensis variant, which is also, what's this? The same word. Okay, anyway, ignore what I just said. There are two main variants. So one primarily grows in China, and the other grows primarily in India. So, China and other East Asian countries. And it has like a milder, mellower kind of taste. And then the one grown in India has the hardier and more robust. Think chai.
They're black tea, yes.
Yeah, they're black tea, exactly. So now we're going to go through the different types of tea. So first there's black tea. That's what everyone's familiar with. If you go somewhere usually and you get like your regular Lipton's tea bag, it's probably black tea. I'm a snob and I'm like, Lipton's? No, thank you. Like, I'm such a snob about tea. It's really bad. Not that I'm like super fancy, but it's just tea. I won't drink Lipton. I'm weird like that. But this is a tea most people are familiar with. So it's also in a lot of breakfast blends, right? Like, yes, Irish breakfast tea, English breakfast tea, which I really like. Those are examples of black teas. So black tea tends to be pretty high in caffeine, but it's still only about half the amount of caffeine as coffee. 1 cup of coffee. 20%. Oh, 20%? Okay, that's what it usually brews like dark, or it's like a coppery, that dark rusty color. And it's usually strong. And you know what black tea tastes like. I don't have to tell you. For black tea, the tea is usually harvested, wilted, and then lightly crushed. That sounds very gentle and cute. I'm like, lightly. Fresh lip like little love taps. Little love taps on the tea. But sometimes if there's tea, like Irish breakfast tea is broken up even more than like traditionally. And there's even a whole method to it called crush, tear, furl. I was like, okay, this is a situation, everybody.
It's a process.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing. Yeah. The tea leaves are then oxidized and then they turn like that brownish black color. So black tea, again, is primarily produced in China and India. And then there's other countries that are starting to produce it, such as Sri Lanka, Nepal, Vietnam, and in Kenya. I will talk more about Kenya in a minute. But usually in India, the black teas are really pretty strong. And they're usually used in breakfast blend, and they add a little bit of milk or sweetener to it to make it more palatable. And in India, they have a black tea special grading system to talk about like the quality of the tea. Chinese black teas tend to be a little bit lighter and chiller, and they don't have to add milk to it. And they have a little bit less caffeine than the Indian black tea. So that's black tea. So now we have everybody else's, the one everyone else knows, green tea, right? Green tea. It's another type of tea made from the tea plant. Usually green tea brews, and it's usually green or yellow. And it contains half, you tell me if this is right, I might be wrong. It contains half as much caffeine as black tea. That's what this one says.
Yes, about 5 to 10%.
Okay. All right. So popular tea includes gunpowder, which I was like, oh, I've never heard of that.
One of my
Is that
favorites.
good?
Yeah.
All right.
If you like the more robust, roasty type of flavor of a green tea, like a lighter roasty flavor, that you would love that one.
Okay.
I like that. I'm very earthy when it comes to my teas.
Yeah. So I get a tea. I really like boba, right? So I go to the boba place. I don't know what kind of green tea they're serving me, but I like my thing now. I don't know why I'm challenging myself. First of all, boba has sugar in it, in like the boba. So I always try to get it without sugar.
Yeah.
But it's so bitter sometimes. Like I can't.
It's probably matcha.
Okay. We're going to
Is
get to
it?
matcha too. It might
Okay.
be. I don't know what is, but usually I get, because I try to like cut out a lot of the sugar because I'm eating the boba. So I don't need all this. So I usually don't get like milk in it or the sweetener.
Yeah.
And I usually don't get milk, and I usually don't get sugar. I just get the straight tea. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. But like sometimes I'm like, man, this is hard to drink. Which is rough, but I do it because I'm like, I feel like this is healthy for me. So I'm just gonna stomach it. Like, but it's bitter. And then there's also Moroccan mint, which sounds really good. I would drink that.
It is so soothing. So
Is it?
soothing.
I like mint teas. They're very nice. I like them. Green tea is usually harvested and then immediately steamed or pan fried. I was like, wow, pan fried. That's interesting. Yeah.
Love care.
Yes, I know, right? It's like really cool.
It's so dedicated.
It really is. And it makes you really think like we drink. I feel like more people in the United States drink coffee. I don't like the smell of coffee, so I don't drink coffee, but I'm like really drink tea, and I don't stop to think about like the process of it. But reading about this made me appreciate it. I was like, damn, this is like really a full thing. Like it made me really feel good. So now when I drink another cup of tea, I'm like, thank you, person. I appreciate it. So they stop oxidation soon after harvest, and that's what gives it the green tea leaf their bright green color. And that like earthy taste. The tea is then rolled and pressed until it's finally shaped and dried. So green tea is primarily produced in China and Japan. So Japan green teas are steamed soon after harvest. They tend to be slightly savory, oceanic quality is what this website said. And they brew up into like the light emerald green. Japanese teas are sometimes also shaded for weeks prior to harvest. And this increases their levels of chlorophyll, caffeine, and theanine. We'll say that. I think that's it. Which cool.
Very healthy.
Yeah, I'm like chlorophyll. That's the plant stuff. That's great.
That's or like how my husband likes to call it, the blood of plant.
That's just true.
I've been using it a lot every day, actually, in my tea. And it's really good for detoxification. So it really helps your immune system as well. It's good stuff. So if you drink tea, green tea, especially every day, that's good for you.
Okay, I do. I really like green tea. Some of the popular Japanese green teas are sencha, kukacha, sencha. Thank you. Hichicha and jaikuro. And Chinese green teas are usually pan fried after harvest in order to stop the oxidation process. And then these teas tend to be milder than Japanese green teas, and they brew up to a soft holding color. And then we mentioned the popular one. We mentioned gunpowder, like you said, you like it. And then dragonwell and chumi. Okay. All right.
Dragonwood is wonderful too, although it's a little bit more, it's definitely a lot more earthy and it's a very required taste for that one. A lot of people may not like that one. I also really love the Genmaicha type. I think those are usually the ones that have that rusted sesame seeds, I believe it is.
Ooh. Okay.
That is really, it's like has a nice nutty, earthy flavor to it. I recommend.
Okay. Thank you. Please, yeah, tell us what to drink, and I love it. So then we have white tea. So white tea is a delicate, mildly processed tea that's highly sought after by connoisseurs and enjoyed by experts and novices alike. At least that's what this website says. It usually has a light body and a mild flavor with a crisp, clean finish, and it tends to be low in caffeine. But some silver tip teas, I didn't get to Google what that is, but
that
they may have
probably one of the most expensive. That's probably one of the most expensive teas, but it's really delicate, very light, and almost has a very light, sweet flavor to it. But it's so delicate, you have to be careful to brew it or you'll make it taste terrible, bitter, basically. You can burn it. But yes, that's a good option if you want some healthy white tea, but you're not so sure about the flavors. If you want something very light, that's a good starter.
Oh, so you mean you can burn it by brewing it like too long
and too hot
and too hot? Oh no, this is too hard. Because like I used to really love. I don't know if Tiavana is still in business or maybe just not at my local mall.
It's not. Oh, I used to work at one.
Oh really? I used to love the Tiavana. I went there. Yeah. I went there one time. I never bought the tea because it was always too expensive, but I did buy it one time. I would just drink the samples. I would go back and forth past the store a couple times.
Sure, what is this?
I sure was. I would come back one night, see they bring a new teapot. I was like, what's that?
It was so funny because we had to. We were like, we couldn't say no. Like, okay, put in.
One time it was like this guy and he's looking at me like, I've definitely seen you 3 times today. I'm like, you sure? I'm gonna drink some more tea. I'm sorry. I bought some Earl Grey tea from there one time. It was so good. Oh my, I really like Earl Grey. Okay, sorry, back to white tea. So you getting off topic. Silver tip teas. Ooh, I'm gonna Google that when we're done because I need to know more. It's minimally processed, like I said, and it's dried. Before it's dried and then packaged. So in some case with the silver tip and silver needle teas, white tea is harvested from the first tips and buds of the tea plant before they fully open. And with white teas like white peony, I love peonies. They're harvested after the leaves unfurl and grow. And in both cases, white teas experience minimal amounts of oxidation. They're specifically produced in the Fujian province, which has a very rich history.
Yeah. We all the way to the Tang Dynasty
before.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about Guanyin tea before, and I think it's in Fujian too.
That one is a great tea after the Goddess of Mercy. Yes, that one.
Me too. We talked about her on a different episode, but Fujian province, I think, is also the place where they grow her tea too. So there's some specialty white teas that are now being grown in Nepal, Taiwan, and Sri Lanka. We also have oolong. Oolong. Oolong.
That one is probably, out of all the teas, oolong is my go-to, my favorite.
Yeah, I like oolong tea. I never know what it is. That's why I was like, I'm so glad we're doing this episode, but I'll buy it. Like,
and it's all the same tea. It's really just the process, like how long it goes through the process, whether it gets oxidized or not, things like that. That's easy.
Yeah. So oolong is partially oxidized tea, placing it somewhere between like black and green tea in terms of oxidation. It can range from 10 to 80% oxidation, which can brew up to anywhere from a pale yellow to an amber cup of tea. Many oolongs can be re-infused many times, with like subtle differences in the nuance of flavor every time you brew it. And there's a lot of different types. There's milk oolong, which is grown from special variants of the tea plant that have been cultivated for many years to make it taste a little different. It's harvested, wilted, and then undergoes the partial oxidation. Depending on the type, the oxidation could be for a short time or it could be for a long time. And stuffed oolong teas are rolled into small little balls. I'm doing the process like you guys can see me. They're rolled into tiny little. I'm like, yeah, everyone, look at me. No, this is not a video medium. Tiny little balls, and then they're packaged and dried and packaged. They produce these in different parts of China and Taiwan, and there's very special oolong teas that are just grown in Taiwan. All right.
Mm-hmm. My favorite oolong tea, and I'm always going to recommend it to anyone. I first learned about it when I was in the acupuncture place. It was GABA oolong. So GABA oolong. It's basically a type of oolong that is so good for your health, and it helps lower your blood pressure, helps reduce stress and anxiety, helps lower cholesterols, and it especially helps with your mental clarity. Basically helps remove that brain fog that you may experience like in the morning. So it's a great substitute for coffee if you want to get off coffee but you still want to drink something that helps your day start. It's GABA tea is the best because it helps not only with your alertness and removing the brain fog, but it can also long-term use can possibly help with Alzheimer's, schizophrenia, Parkinson's disease, and also with your sleep. It can help basically produce better REM sleep as well. So you could really drink it throughout the day if you wanted to. I steep it up to like 3 times a day. I have it in the morning, in the afternoon, and sometimes right before bed, because by the time that you steep it the third, most of that caffeine is gone. So you're ready to go right to bed. But yes, GABA tea, people. GABA.
GABA. Ooh, I wrote that down. I'm gonna try that. I love it, especially for sleep. It's nice to take something for just get you like down. Chamomile tea is fine, but I'm always looking for other stuff too.
Yes.
All right, then you have. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Oh God, pu'er tea.
Yeah, pure
tea. Okay, pu'er. I'm like pu'er tea.
That one's fun. That one's fun.
Okay. Yeah, it's like a partially fermented tea. I was like, is this kombucha?
I guess it's like kombucha. It will have a particular taste. If not everyone likes kombucha, it would probably be the same for pu'er.
Okay, makes sense.
It's actually,
go ahead.
It's actually, I remember one of the fun things I learned about it with the tea master. He's like, this came from underground. They buried it. No, like, what? It smells like that. It smells like fresh soil. So it's very earthy. It's very earthy.
I've never heard of it before.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's actually hard to find sometimes. You have to go to a really good, legit Chinese market sometimes, or like to really find some really good quality. Definitely find it at probably this tea restaurants, tea markets. Very unique taste.
Yeah, it sounds unique. Like you said just now, it has an earthy taste. That's what it says here. It's deeply satisfying, apparently, to this website. That's what they said. It has a fairly high amount of caffeine, about the same amount as the black tea does. So the pu'er is processed in the same way that green tea is processed, but then it ferments. Like when you said they put it like underground. That's what they do. They leave it to age more. Then there's also show pu'er, which is produced using a modern accelerated fermentation method, where the regular pu'er tea was like it's fermented over like a couple of years. But the one they do now is like a different, like I said, accelerated version. And it originates in the city of Pu'er in the Yunnan province in China. And it's still primarily produced there. It's one of those things that's like you can't call it Pu'er unless it's actually from there, like champagne.
That's exactly what the tea master had said. Oh, I remember he was always so proud when he showed it to me for the first time. Like it was literally in a box under like the counter in a drawer because he was very cheerful. You can't really leave it out too much in the sun or it might actually dry it out or in the light. So he pulled it out and when he uncovered it and then finally revealed it, he was so proud. He all lifted it up and it looks like a little cake, like a big black cake. And he's just like, smell it and just inhale it because it really is like a pride and joy to finally have it after all those years. When you finally pull it out from under the ground and see how it turns out. It is also as much as of a delicate process because you have to make sure that humidity doesn't get to it, doesn't mold, things like that. So it's very unique.
Interesting.
If you haven't tried it, try it at least once and really think how it is. Oh, look, there's the deer. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. It's fine. That's important if there's a deer. I love when I see like a whole family of deer. I don't know why it makes me so happy. I'm like, oh, look how cute they are. I was like, it's chilling.
Yeah, we just had like a herd. I keep saying herd. We had a flock of turkey come in here right before we started talking.
Okay, here's the thing about wild turkeys. I'm so scared of them. I worked at this place one time where they chased me into the door of like where I was working. Like I was walking towards the door and there was like, cause they roll deep. They roll like a gang. So they're following me and I'm like, okay, whatever. And they like pick up speed. So I picked up speed because I was like, I don't know what's about to go down right now, but it's 7 a.m. and I can't do this. So I'm running like to the door of this nursing home that I worked at for like a month. I'm screaming. And this lady like lets me in. I was like, oh my gosh, there's wild turkeys out there. She's like, okay. Oh no. They scare me. They're so cute. Like I find wild turkeys actually like really beautiful, but I'm scared shitless of them.
Gosh, they're dinosaurs.
I know they are. You know what I learned today? Sorry, random fact. I know we're doing this. It's fine. Sharks are like one of the oldest living things on this planet. Like they're older than trees. Like just trees in general.
Interesting. That would make sense if like it was like a water world before, right?
Yeah, they were like, yeah, no, sharks are just old, and sharks are older than trees. I was like, just trees in general, they're older than them. I'm like, that's crazy. Oh, that's wild. I know. I was like, okay.
What about like with alligators and crocodiles?
I think they're on like the same wavelength because I think I'm not a dinosaur expert. I hope someone on here is listening, but like, I guess it depends on which like era or whatever, but all those things are related to like the T-Rexes and things like that. Bronchosaurus, that was my favorite dinosaur. Because I liked the neck was long. I thought it was cool. And they were herbivores and they didn't eat other animals. I like that. Anyway, God, again, getting off topic. Okay, back to season.
On tonight's tea and dinosaurs.
Like, what's going on? People like actually shut up, tell us about the tea, and then stop talking. I'm like, oh my God, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, purple tea. Purple tea is a relatively new type of tea, and it's only been available for a few years. It's produced from a rare purple leaves that are found growing in the wild in the Assam region of India. But today it's produced primarily in Kenya. The thing about Kenya is that the people who produce some teas have gone to Kenya and they figured out that the weather there and like the ground and the soil is like very good for producing tea. So now they produce a lot of tea in Kenya. It's not native to there. They just brought it there because they're like, oh, this is a good place for us to do it because it's ideal for commercial tea production. So it's a big thing now in Kenya. Huh. Yeah. This purple tea has a light body and a mellow flavor. It's very low in caffeine, but very high in antioxidants and anthocyanins, maybe. Purple tea is usually produced in the same manner as oolong teas, and they get a little reddish purple, and that's why it's called purple tea. Then we got matcha. All right, we're almost. There's a lot of different teas.
Green
Jesus
tea.
Christ. Yeah, matcha is a powdered green tea. I'm like, Jesus Christ, there's so many teas. I didn't realize it. So matcha is like, yeah, powdered green tea. I have a really good recipe for these, like matcha almond brownies. You make with, white chocolate chips, matcha, almonds. It's actually really good. I really, really like
You
it.
sold me. That sounds good. So good.
I'm going to put that recipe up here because everyone should know it.
Yes.
It's produced from a specialty plant that's shaded for at least 3 weeks prior to harvest. Okay. It also it has increased chlorophyll, and that's what gives it the color. The leaves are steamed immediately after harvest to halt the oxidation process at all. And then they're shaped and dried like a typical green tea. And then to make the matcha, they grind it on a stone, at least that's the traditional way, into a very fine powder. And that's matcha. Then there's mate tea. Mate is a tea-like drink that's made from a plant actually in South America. It's not tea. Mate, I'm sorry. Mate. It's not the legit tea because it's not from the same plant, the tea plant, but it's like the tea that they drink. And it has caffeine.
Yes. It's just like coffee.
Okay, yeah. It's
100%.
Yeah, it's prepared in a hollow gourd and by adding leaves and hot water to the gourd. And then the tea is consumed through this filtered straw called a bombilla. And in many South American countries, mate is shared amongst a bunch of friends and they just keep refilling it. And it's like a social thing. Then you've got your herbal teas that everybody loves herbal tea, right? So the thing about herbal teas, it's not technically, if we're going to be technical about it, it's not technically tea. We just call it tea because it's a mixture of herbs. And it's usually it's usually a blend of herbs and spices. It usually has no caffeine. But we usually use peppermint tea, chamomile tea, lavender tea. People like to use that. And those are herbal infusions, hibiscus, ginger, lavender. People like to use that in their tea. Ooh, I love ginger tea. Anytime, anywhere. And then you have rooibos. Rooibos. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm terrible with the pronunciation. It's a particular type of herbal tea made from a plant native to South Africa. These teas are sometimes referred to as red tea or red bush tea, and they are naturally caffeine-free. They have a full body like black tea, but it's a good option for people who like black tea but don't want to have caffeine in their tea. Yes. It has a natural sweetness, and sometimes people put a little milk in it, sometimes they don't. And
it's almost like a honey flavor.
Okay, yeah, it can be mixed with things like Earl Grey tea, or chai. People say it seems to mix it a lot with that. Woo! Now you're like, I know too much about tea, Ashley. That was too much. That's what you're getting. You have the tea bitch here. I'm talking about tea. And that's our tea time section. Yay, tea time where we learned something. So we learned about tea today during tea time. Yay. Yay. Okay. Whew, we got a lot of information. Now we can all settle down and relax because now it's story time. Yes. I'm going to tell a story. It's a short story. This story is called The Magician's Tea Party. So we had to find another tea related thing because this is what we're doing today. The Magician's Tea Party is a story that was written by a British suffragette and author Evelyn Sharp in 1900. So Evelyn Sharp was a pacifist and a writer, and she was part of a militant women's social and political union, and she became the first editor of Votes for Women during the First World War in the UK. She was also a tax resister. She decided she did not want to pay taxes. She was arrested twice. Good for her. I don't want to pay taxes either.
Really good. Seriously.
I'm not about that prison life, but I also don't want to pay taxes. So I have to talk to Evelyn. I'm scared of jail. Okay, but then she also, I guess in her spare time when she wasn't paying her taxes and campaigning for women's rights, she was like, you know what? I'm going to write a children's book. Cool. So this is a story. It's called The Magician's Tea Party, and this is how it goes. So the story starts with this king. He's called the Little King, and his name's King Wistful. and he's an 8-year-old king of what is called the Cheerful Isles, but he calls them the Monotonous Isles because he hates it there.
Oh.
He's like, "Oh, I hate this place. It's so ugly and dull." He literally
Oh.
says it's the dullest and ugliest, most wearisome place in the world. Wow. Okay.
Wearisome.
Wearisome. That's a good word. It's wearisome. The king's outside his door. He's looking around his kingdom, just being like, "Damn, this kingdom's dumb. Can't stand it. So stupid." He hates it. And so then he hears another little girl singing, and she's singing this song. So this is a song. The song says, "Sing song, don't be long, whistle come and play. Sing," I don't know how it goes. I'm just making up my own cadence. "Sing song, it's very wrong to stay and say away. The world is much too nice a place to make you pull so long a face. It's full of people being kind and full of flowers for you to find. These heaps of folks for you to tease and all the ugliness you please. To sulse is surely a waste of time when all those trees are yours to climb. Ting ring, make haste king. I've something really nice to say. Ting ring, a proper king would not make me sing all day." Ooh, that's a long song that she had.
Don't make me sing all day.
Yeah, she's like, "Because I can't remember all the words to this song."
So being worrisome.
It all comes back to being worrisome. So the king is like, "Oh, this is great. I see this girl and she seems like fun to hang out with." And he notices that she has really bright brown eyes. So he calls her Eyebright. And actually, she said that's her name. Her name was Eyebright. And when asked where she learned that song, she's like, "Oh, I learned it from the magician and he taught me the song." And the king was like, "Okay." So they start chit-chatting and he's telling her how he thinks the kingdom's so dumb. And Eyebright's like, "Damn, the kingdom's beautiful." He's like, "No, it's not. It's dumb." And she's like, "Okay, I don't think you should think it's dumb. I think we should go and see the magician because something's wrong with you. And I don't see why you think it's dumb." And he's like, "Okay, fine." So they go together to this place called the Middle Island. And they go through the woods onto this boat, and then they get to the magician's cave. First of all, where's everyone's parents? These kids are 8.
Yeah, no kidding. Look at the king. It don't matter.
I'm like, where's the adult in the situation? They just let them get on a boat and go into a cave with a strange dude? That's not good.
Magician.
Like,
I don't cave.
I'm like, I don't trust the situation. Okay. The two get to the cave, and then the magician is there, and the magician is like, "Who is this, Eyebright?" And she's like, "Oh, this is my new friend, the king." And he's like, "Okay." And she's like, "Magician, I need you to help me with the kid, with Eyebright, sorry. I need you to help me with King Wistful and show him what a great kingdom he has." So the magician's like, "Okay, but first we must eat." So he puts out a beautiful spread. He goes, he claps his hand, and all of a sudden there's food and tea and cakes, and everyone's so happy. So they have a nice party. They eat lunch. They chit chat, and then they're telling the magician what's going on. And the magician's like, "The reason that you can't see that you have a beautiful kingdom is because wimps," which I couldn't figure out what wimps were. "Wimps threw dust in your eyes as a baby." I think they're like mischievous, tiny spirits.
Like
That's
wisps?
what I was like, wisp. Yeah, I think so. Maybe they meant wisp, but it's called wimps. I don't know. But they're just like wisps. They're mysterious. They're like mischievous spirits. So the magician's like, "Okay, these little mischievous spirits, they would do it because they're mischievous. And then you have to go and try to get them to reverse it, but you have to go to Wimpland. And this is how you get there." So he writes them a map. So now these kids, again, without supervision, are going on another trip to Wimpland. So he sends them there in a flash of lightning. So now the king and Eyebright, they get to Wimpland and they're looking around. They find a wimp to talk to. And the wimp is like, "Oh, it was me, actually. I'm the one who threw dust in kids' eyes." And the wimp is like, "What?" And they were like, "What?" And the wimp is like, "Yeah, sorry about that." And then the wimp is like, "The only thing you can do now is I can't fix your eyesight, but you could trade eyes to somebody." And Eyebright's like, "Oh my God, Eyebright's like, you can have my eyes." And the king is like, "I don't want to take your eyes because that's mean. I don't want to just make you not have my eyes. That's weird. And I feel bad. And you've been so helpful, Eyebright. I don't want to take your beautiful eyes." Eyebright's like, "No, you got to do it. I want you to be happy. I want you to see how beautiful the world is. And the king's like, okay, fine. All of a sudden they switch eyes because all these fairy tales have people switching eyes so easily. I guess nobody has nerves. Yeah, and blood vessels, but that's fine. So they switch their eyes.
In the world.
Not a care in the world. Everyone's just popping their eyes in and out. Not, are they washing their hands? We don't know. They should be. So they switch eyes, and then Eyebright looks, and now Eyebright just sees like 5 boring islands, but the king sees like this beautiful kingdom and like all this beautiful, all the magic and wonder. And the king is going on and on to Eyebright about like, oh my God, isn't this so beautiful? And Eyebright's like, oh, it looks pretty bad to me, but it's fine. So Eyebright then runs away, and the king goes home to bed. That's literally what the story says. And then the final lines of the story talk about how there's a queen now of the monotonous isles, but now they're back to being the cheerful isles. And the queen always tells the king how beautiful everything is. The king's so happy, and the queen has to remember to see everything with the king's eyes. I don't know what the point of this story was, everybody. I just found it and I read it and I was like, this is the story we're going to tell. Yeah, I was like, I don't know. I thought there was going to be the moral that I thought, and then it wasn't. So I don't know. So that's the story of the magician.
It's hidden somewhere. It's hidden somewhere. We don't have the eyes to see yet the meaning of this.
Exactly. And it's called The Magician's Tea Party, and The Magician's Tea Party was the shortest part of the story, but okay. It is what it is. I don't know, guys.
Be thinking about this long into the night, trying to find the meaning here.
What is it about? I don't know, but that's the story, and I'm happy we got to tell another unusual fairy tale because I just love it. Anyway, that brings us to the end of our show. Goodbye.
Appreciate what you have, people. Appreciate your eyes.
And thank you for being here so much. I really appreciate it. If you want to tell everybody just where they can find you on the internet and all that good stuff, it'd be much appreciated.
Sure thing. You could find me in most social medias, on Instagram, on Twitter, Threads, Facebook, Pinterest. I do not yet have a TikTok, but I've been thinking about it. But yes, you can find me at the Tea Witch blog, and all of these social media platforms. Just look me up, and I am there.
Yay! Okay. Thank you so much. This has been great. Thank you for talking about tea and hanging out. So everybody, this is Dine with the Divine. Again, we're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads. And if you like the show, please pause and give us a follow. Make sure you're following us. And oh my gosh, sorry, I'm like failing at this. Make sure you're following us. And if you could give us a 5-star rating, that's always helpful, in a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to this. If you have any suggestions for the episodes or any questions or comments, feel free to email me at dinewiththedivine@gmail.com. And if you want to follow me, Ashley, I'm Sankofa HS, and that's Sankofa, SANKOFAHS, and Sankofa Healing Sanctuary on Facebook. Thank you so much, SM, for being here. And thank all of you for listening. And I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.